What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be going through AEW back from November all the way until now, leading us into Revolution. And this is just everything that you need to know in case you haven't been keeping up, or if you just want to get a recap of almost everything. And I'm going to be giving mostly my opinions on how I've seen AEW progress from November until now. The last time I was on here talking about AEW, I believe it was around Full Gear. The pay-per-view hadn't really happened yet. They were still building into it. I don't even remember how many weeks actually were left until Full Gear, but we're going to be starting at Full Gear, going through the matches, and then kind of veering off and seeing how the storylines have played out since from those matches. So yeah, let's get into it, I guess. We can start with the AEW title match. Let's start it off hot. Cody versus Chris Jericho for the AEW Championship. Again, this was not a blow-away match, but it was still good. The false finishes and the storytelling was amazing. Chris Jericho and Cody have been some of the best in that for AEW. I mean, Cody, just look at his match against Dustin. Who even thought that was going to be what it was? As I remember, the promos leading up to it were amazing from both Cody and Jericho leading up to their match at Full Gear. The match also had a stipulation that if Cody lost, he would never challenge for the AEW Championship ever again. And with MJF in his corner, as Chris Jericho had him in the Lion Tamer or Walls of Jericho, whatever he calls it now, MJF actually threw the towel in for Cody, not only costing him the match, but costing him the ability to ever challenge for the AEW title. So that actually has set up months of build that we've gotten for this match coming up at Revolution with Cody and MJF. Both guys have been good during this build on promos. The only thing I will say is that there was no sense of urgency from Cody coming out of Full Gear. You would have thought that MJF turning on him and costing him the ability to ever challenge for the AEW World Championship would, get to him and he would want to kill him right away. But there were actually weeks before this match was even hinted at taking place. Cody will come out one week, throw out some digs or challenges at MJF, and then the next week MJF will come out. Sometimes they would be on the same show and they wouldn't even, cross paths with each other. That didn't make any sense. Um, but ever since then, ever since MJF actually threw out the stipulations that Cody can't touch him and the tense lashings, the steel cage match against Wardlow, ever since then it has been, understandable why Cody hasn't gotten his hands on MJF because of that one stipulation that he can't touch him until their match. So that makes sense. That made up for why they weren't getting at. Actually, it doesn't make up for it because I feel like Cody should have had a sense of urgency, like I said, to get his hands on MJF right after Full Gear, but it didn't happen. After the stipulations were laid out, the promos, the TV have just been decent. The video, I don't know if there has been video packages on AEW Dynamite, but on being the elite and the Row 2 shows, their AEW YouTube channels, they have had more video packages, so those have been good as well. The addition of Arn Anderson with on in Cody's corner has been a delight, I guess, a good surprise. One thing I will say though, why would MJF get a bodyguard now? Obviously, he's a squirmy little heel who needs somebody to protect him, but have you guys seen Wardlow even get physical once? I There might have been an instance where he got physical, but I can't remember a certain time where Wardlow actually played into MJF not getting beat up. I don't remember any instance of that. So I don't know why they gave MJF Wardlow. I mean, I know why, but I don't know why at the same time. Also, Butcher and the Blade with Bunny. Now, their debut should have been the package that we got last AEW Dynamite, where MJF went into a butcher shop, handed Bunny a envelope, which we could take as being cash as a payment for Butcher and Blade working for MJF. That should have been the first time we seen Butcher and Blade on AEW. That way, when they actually debuted, we would be like, oh, we know where they're coming from, we know who they are, we know why they're here, and why they're. I think they attacked Cody, obviously, the first time that we actually saw him. But that would have explained why, because MJF had paid them off, and that's why they're attacking him. They are missing a lot of now. they've actually fixed this a lot over the last couple of weeks. But when they first started, there should have been a lot of more build-ups to these guys debuting instead of just having them debut. I mean, look at the Dark Order. The video packages on TV have been alright. And imagine those things leading up to their eventual debut. That would have made it a lot better than how it actually came off the first time that the Dark Order actually debuted. They came out to basically no reaction whatsoever from the crowd. Going back to Butcher and Blade, though, the first match that we actually got from Butcher and Blade, it was against Cody and QT Marshall. That match was way more enjoyable than I ever thought it was going to be. So I'll give them that. But ever since then, it's really led to nothing because Butcher and Blade just continue to lose matches. I don't know what's going on there. So that's what's really come out of the Cody and Jericho match from Full Gear. This whole build and feud between MJF and Cody leading us into Revolution. So we'll see how that match goes. I think it's going to be alright. It should be another classic from Cody, especially how the build has been. Like I said, there's just a ton of backstory to this, which you want in a wrestling match. You want to be invested in why this match is taking place. So going from that, we're going to be moving on to the other side of the main event scene. Um, Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega at Full Gear had a unsanctioned match. These guys had a killer of a match, literally and figuratively, at Full Gear. Some backlash that I seen on social media after the match was downright cringe. Wrestling does not have to be one style. If so, Jim Cornette will be the richest man in the business. It's a variety TV show about wrestling. You can pick and choose what you like on any given card. I'll get to this later, but I tend to skip a ton of the women's matches in AEW because what they're doing is just not my cup of tea. Will I complain that it sucks? Sure. But will I say that it doesn't belong on a wrestling show? No. Somebody somewhere must find interest in it, otherwise it wouldn't be taking place. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. All the pussies who had a problem with this match being as violent as it was has no right to be watching wrestling. Even WWE, who has a PG product, they still go outside the box every once in a while. Because wrestling, pro wrestling at its core, it's a violent sport slash form of entertainment, however you want to see it. But going back to the match, I enjoyed every bit of it for what it was. They are professionals and they are adults. So everything that they did in this match, I felt comfortable that both of them knew what they were doing and they understood what they were doing. So I suspended my disbelief for everything. Every spot I thought it was going to be the end of it. I won't go, move for move for this match because I'm not really trying to do all that. I'm just going to get to how we've gotten to where we are today. Moxley ended up winning that match and since then has been on the road to being number one contender for the AEW title at Revolution. Again, some great TV as expected from him and Jericho for the last couple of months. Jericho offering Moxley to be part of the inner circle was maybe stretched out a little bit too long, but they had to because of how long they have in between pay-per-views. The initial offer promo from Jericho was good, like when he first, actually came out and offered, 49% of the inner circle, the car, and all this other stuff to Moxley. That was a good initial promo from Jericho to Moxley. And then Jon Moxley actually accepting this offer, taking the keys to the 4GT, hugging and embracing Chris, only to turn on him the same night. It was so much fun. I didn't see it coming, but at the same time you did. You were like, wait, oh, so they're gonna actually do a slower build than what we thought it was gonna be. You thought he was actually gonna join, and then in a couple of weeks they were gonna do it, but no, he turned on him that same night. He smashed a bottle of a little bit of the bubbly over Jericho, and the sight of seeing Chris in Jake Hager's hands in his arms as Moxley left through the crowd, it was hilarious in a good way. Then Jericho getting his payback by jamming a spike into Jon Moxley's eye 1 week before his number one contendership match. But obviously, as we all know now, Moxley still won that said match against Pac, and now will be challenging Chris Jericho at Revolution. So, all in all, there has been some good stuff in the AEW main event main event storyline scene with Jericho, Moxley, and Cody and MJF. I think those are like the two main feuds that are going on right now, and so far have been some of the best things in AEW and on AEW television each and every week. So no complaints there from the main guys, or the top guys, as you will. I don't know if MJF is there yet. I think they still want to groom him, but he's with Cody, so we'll group him in with the top wrestlers in AEW right now. All right, so moving on to the next match that we'll be covering from Full Gear and how we have gone from that. Adam Page and Pac had a match. These guys have been also given some good TV time since Full Gear. Pac went on to have a rematch from All Out against Kenny Omega around November. I want to say it was an episode of Dynamite for the Thanksgiving show, maybe the week after. I don't know. I don't really remember, but it was around that time. And since then, he's been wanting his rubber match. Well, at the time, I thought they were going to just do it right away. I am super happy that they've stretched it out this far. If this was WWE, these guys would have had 12 matches in 6 months, one way or another. You know, tag matches, six-man tags, whatever. And then they would still be having a build-up to a pay-per-view match after we've already seen it so many times. But this way it has been building each and every week that Pac doesn't get his match. Eventually, when we do get it, if they put it on a big show or make it the main match of a Dynamite card, it's going to feel more special than it would have if they just gave it to us 2 weeks after their last match. So good for them on that. Speaking of Omega, the streak of losses that they were kind of making a big deal out of kind of stopped after this win against Pac. Then he started teaming with Adam Page. I didn't get it at first, but again, AEW actually takes its time with the storylines. So Adam Page wanted to separate himself from the Elite, but was booked in tag matches. And because the Elite are vice presidents, it makes sense why they book each other together, you know, in tag matches and whatever. So they were actually able to get a couple of wins together, and that led them to a number one contenders match, which they won to face SCU on Jericho's Cruise. Adam Page has had this drunk gimmick, which I'm getting behind. He's also going out there to prove that he's not the weak link of the Elite without really saying that he's trying to prove that. He's just going out there and doing it, just being the baddest SOB that anyone has ever seen in AEW so far. And he was the one to end that match against SCU with a great sequence. Page got the win, and along with Omega, they are now the tag team champions. Amazing stuff from Page again, crowd surfing while downing a couple beers after winning the belts. I don't know where this is going, but I'm hooked to see where it goes. SCU as tag champs weren't really doing anything with the belts. Now the tag division is open again for someone to be built, getting a win on Adam Page and Kenny Omega. Besides SCU doing nothing with the belts, the tag division looks to be shifting to hopefully letting some more teams get out there to challenge for the belts, and actually becoming bigger deals than they could have been if they just defeated SCU. Now they're going to be getting a win on Adam Page and Kenny Omega, who are two other top stars for this company. Guys like Proud and Powerful, the Best Friends, Butcher and Blade, Private Party, the Lucha Bros, and obviously the Young Bucks, they should be the main tag teams right now being pushed, in my opinion. Right now, those guys, maybe take one or two out, those core teams should be the ones pushed. We go from the tag division into, do I even need to get into the women's division really? I think the last time I talked about AEW on this channel, I was holding out hope, but Riho has not really lived up to what I thought she could have been. Britt Baker isn't as good as I thought she was. Nyla Rose continues to disappoint. The Nightmare Collective stuff was awful. I don't know if they've gone away with it. We haven't seen it in a couple of weeks now. After this year's Double or Nothing, I think AEW will finally stop pushing random people just to give them TV time, and they'll go back to pushing the top stars that made AEW must watch to begin with. So hopefully, by Double or Nothing this year in 2020, the women's division will kind of fix itself. They have decent performers that they can build the division with as of right now. I don't know if these people are contracted or not, but I've seen them on TV, so that's why I'm saying right now they can build this division on. Riho has been missing a couple of shows, so if they're not contracted, they could probably still give one of these people the championship and build the division around them. You know what I mean? So, ladies like Bea Priestley, Penelope Ford, Shauna, Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, and Priscilla Kelly, who looked alright in her debut, and hopefully they sign her. Those are some good females that I think could make this division better. WWE hasn't made it easy because they got all the women that were great on the indies right before AEW came around. I'll just throw in some more names here just for conversation's sake. Let's see here. The Dark Order, like I said, they've had interesting video packages, but every time they are live in the arena, their segment falls flat. With the tease of an Exalted One, probably is going to be the leader of this stable. Let's just have our fingers crossed that it's going to be somebody that we all know and like. Someone like a Matt Hardy, maybe. I've been hearing rumors about that. So let's see if Matt Hardy could bring some excitement to this stable, especially in the indies, because he has more creative power over what he wants to do with it, with his character. And if somebody like Matt Hardy brought back that gimmick from 2016 and implemented here with the Dark Order, it could make for some, crazy, odd, weird, all of the above type craziness that we can get on TV for Dynamite. And for the Dark Order, it would obviously revitalize their gimmick. Where have Jimmy Havoc and Shawn Spears been? We need to see them more. I think they would add to the show. I'll talk more when they actually appear on TV. Joey Janela and Kip Sabian could have been in that "where are they" conversation, but we've actually seen some more of them lately. Not must-watch TV, but this does get them on TV, so maybe this will get the winner of the feud to something else, something bigger. They do have to, now going into a year of AEW, I believe that they should get the mid-card title rolling, or whatever they want to call their championship that's under the AEW title. Probably an unpopular opinion, but I haven't been able to get behind Jurassic Express, mainly because of Marco Stunt. Just my opinion, but I just don't see what he adds to Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. If anything is actually taken away from them, can you think of how many more Luchasaurus spots we could be getting, but instead they need to use that to give Marco Stunt some spots? Jungle Boy, however, has been pushed to be the future one day. He got a program against Jericho and was actually able to show us what he has. His mic work still needs some work, but since he's not being shoved towards the main event, he still has some time to improve. Last person I'll talk about is Darby Allin. 100% the one guy that has stood out since AEW has started. The first time I heard his name was on AEW programming. But Darby Allin has been amazing. His matches against Cody, his match against Moxley and Pac, he reminds me actually of Jeff Hardy from 2008. He says a lot by not saying anything, if that makes any sense. He lets his in-ring work get him over. Darby Allin, AEW champ by the end of 2021. The title might weigh more than him, but that belt also looks like it weighs 500 pounds, so that's not saying a lot. Just joking around. If anybody has ever heard me talk about smaller guys, I have nothing but love for them. But I'm also like fucking 5'7", 140 pounds, so I'm not the biggest guy either. But yeah, Darby Allin should be one of the top players in the coming years for AEW. I think he does have what it takes to be a top guy for them. Also, congrats to AEW for getting their TV deal extended for TNT. Let's see them sign some more quality talent, and as long as they can go, sign those WWE releases. Just don't be like TNA and sign guys that are past their primes and they're old. Guys like Luke Harper and Matt Hardy still have something to contribute to the business. So if you bring those guys on, listen, we're not gonna give you crap. Well, some people are, but the majority of fans aren't really gonna care.